Hi, this is Mark Wiltshire. Thanks for choosing to listen to another episode of the Explore Finland radio show. Today, I'm really happy to be joined by Teemu Öhman. He's an Earth and planetary scientist and lecturer. He's going to be taking me to the Lappajärvi area and teach me about the origins of Lake Lappajärvi and some of the best places to visit around there. And later, I plan to take a drive and make another one of my road trip photo blogs. So if any of you have been checking those out on the Explore Finland podcast.com website, then there'll be another one coming hopefully before winter. Teemu, thank you for joining me today.
My pleasure.
We're sitting down to talk now. It's the middle of October 2017. The days are getting shorter and shorter, so hopefully I'll be able to get out there in the next couple of weeks and do this road trip. Otherwise, it might wait until spring next year, but I definitely plan to get out there. Teemu, why don't you first explain to people what it is that an Earth and planetary scientist and lecturer actually does from day to day?
At the moment, I'm actually working, I don't know actually what my job title is, but I'm working on a project to create a geotrail around the Lappajärvi area. It's a project run by the Järviseutu-Seura, and they have all these fascinating projects to promote the area and the culture there. And I've been working there for the past year or so, a bit more. I'm a bedrock geologist by training, but from early on I focused on impact cratering. And that's what I've been doing for the past, I don't know, actually 17 years or so.
Okay, and this impact cratering is, I guess, a big part of the reason that Lappajärvi is interesting to you. How about if we start by talking a little bit about the lake? Where is it situated, and how did this lake come to be formed where it is now?
Yeah, sure. It's the obviously the biggest lake in Etelä-Pohjanmaa, and strangely enough located in Lappajärvi. So the town of Lappajärvi is on the, I would say, northeastern side of the lake, and Vimpeli is, sorry, northwestern side is Lappajärvi, northeastern side is Vimpeli, and southeast is Alajärvi. So those two towns cover the area of the lake. And the lake itself was formed in an impact crater that was created by an asteroid impact 76 million years ago. And Lappajärvi is Europe's largest crater lake. So it's pretty impressive.
Okay. About the lake, what is characteristic about a crater lake compared to lakes made in other ways?
One of the most obvious characteristics is that Finnish lakes tend to be narrow, fairly linear things. Lappajärvi is not. It's roughly a circular lake, a large open body of water. That's unusual. That strikes you when you look at the map. And obviously, it's a very rare case because there aren't that many impact craters in the world or in Finland. So it's truly a rare case.
Is it just the shape, or I guess that this crater impact has some kind of other geological effects on the area?
Humongous effects. I mean, let's imagine that you were somewhere in Finland 76 million years ago, which obviously wouldn't have been, but dinosaurs were. And it was a humongous explosion that shattered the country. Tsar Bomba was the biggest bomb us humans have ever invented. The Russian, or Soviet, I should say, hydrogen bomb. And the explosion that created Lappajärvi was more than 5,000 times as energetic as the Tsar Bomba. So an enormous thing.
Okay.
And it's geologically extremely young because Finnish bedrock is very old. The oldest bedrock in EU can be found in Finland. So Finland is actually the core of EU.
Yeah.
And the bedrock in Lappajärvi area is not the oldest stuff. It's 1.9 billion years old, which is old enough. Compared to that, Lappajärvi is extremely young, 76 million years. That's the blink of an eye in geological terms, more or less, particularly in Finland. If you ask for a Brit or somebody from Central Europe, then it's a different story because down there the bedrock is much, much younger than in Finland. But in Finland, 76 million years is young. And as the crater is pretty big, about 22 kilometers in diameter, that makes it large even on a global scale. Well, large to mid-sized, something like that. But pretty remarkable place in geological terms.
So the meteorite crashed. The impact made this huge crater, and you said that the shock waves had this huge effect. Where has this been seen, or where is this evidenced away from Lappajärvi? Where can you also see the effects of this crater or of this impact?
Unfortunately, you can't see it anymore. You can only see it in the Lappajärvi area. And that's because of the erosion. And glacial transportation actually has provided evidence of the impact all the way down to the Porvoo area in southern Finland, because the impact melt rock, kärnäitti in Finnish, that's a very unique type of rock and it's easily identified. So when the glaciers of the last ice age plowed through Finland, they transported boulders of kärnäitte to southern Finland. So you can find
from the impact at Lappajärvi all the way down to Porvoo, which is right on the south coast of Finland.
Yeah, so 300 kilometers, something over 300 kilometers.
Okay, and it's these glaciers that you mentioned. You mentioned before that Lappajärvi is a very different shape to other lakes, and that's because these other lakes were made by glaciers moving from north to south.
More or less so, yeah. The glaciers essentially cleaned up the debris from old fractures, and that's why we have the lakes oriented more or less northwest, southeast in most parts of the country.
Okay.
So there are fractures in all directions, but the glaciers moved in that direction, so they cleaned fractures oriented in that direction.
And you mentioned before that you're working on this Geotrail project. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's a fun idea because throughout the world, I would say, geotourism as a part of nature tourism has been on the rise, I would say, globally. And Finland hasn't really realized that we have actually unique geologic wonders here that we should try to market first to Finns and obviously to tourists everywhere in the world. But these are places that you can't find anywhere else. We have two well-recognized geologic wonders in Finland. One is the World Heritage Site in Merenkurkku, and one is the UNESCO Geopark in Rohua.
With a bit of luck, the World Heritage Site, you said Merenkurkku, which is the kind of archipelago area near Vaasa. Hopefully, that's something else I'll also be talking about in another episode of the podcast. It's certainly something I visited just a few weeks ago and did a photo blog. So again, get over to the website and see what I saw. It's impressive. It's one thing that made me want to look a little bit more at the geology of this area, just to go to the end of Björköby Island and see the geography there and the land lifting. So it's kind of intrigued me since then.
Yeah, it's a fascinating place. And actually, to get back to the project, what we're doing is we mapped, in collaboration with the Geological Survey of Finland, the 20 or so most interesting sites around the lake, and sort of easily accessible places, places that describe the geology of the area best. And at the moment, we're finishing the descriptions, and basically the online version of the Geotrail should be available within a month or so. And
you have a web address that you can direct people to where they can check that out online.
We will have. We don't have it yet, but there will be. It will be available on Google Maps. That's the easy option, and then there are some other versions of it available.
Okay, I will have some show notes to accompany this podcast when it's published. So if you're listening to this now, it's obviously been published, and if you check the show notes, we'll put some links in there, and hopefully a link to the maps and a link to any other website that Teemu has together there. So when we talked before I pressed record, I said maybe you could explain 3 to 5 of these places, the interesting places around the lake. I didn't realize you had 20 of them mapped out. I'm intrigued. I don't know this area at all well, so I'm intrigued to know what are some of these places, and what is interesting about them. I have as much time as you have, so how about we take some of your favorites or some of the most interesting or unique, however you want to do it.
Yeah, I'm in no hurry. I love talking about Lappajärvi.
I've definitely found the right person for this conversation. So I'll just wind you up and set you off, and you go for it. Okay.
Let's say when you go to Lappajärvi, I would recommend the first place to start is the Kivitippu Hotel, because that's actually the easiest place to get to see the impact melt rock, the Craterlake. And that's really a unique kind of rock, because as the name impact melt rock implies, that's the rock that was molten during the impact. So it's a mixture of the bedrock. And not all of the bedrock was molten, but in this Craterlake there are clasts of unmolten bedrock crushed and shocked within it. So it looks very strange.
So you can actually see the from the impact, the heat that was generated turned some of this rock, this bedrock, into molten rock. So sort of hot liquid rock, and then of course it's cooled and hardened, but you have this interesting looking specimen left behind.
Yeah, and it caught the attention of geologists already 160 years ago. So it's been studied for a very long time, and it's been a puzzle for a very long time. And the best place to see this is the fall, the entrance fall, and the stairs of Kivitippu Spa.
Have they used it in the design of the building, or have they built the building around it?
They used cut and polished slabs of granite on the floor, so you can very easily see beautiful samples of the rock. And it's quite wonderful. Okay. And in addition to just staring at the floor there's also a nice exhibition downstairs where you can learn more about the geology of the area and the bedrock and the impact process itself. And
the people that have listened to this and that can get themselves to Lappajärvi, start at the Kivitippu Hotel and familiarize themselves. They've got this to spark their imagination, and then they can familiarize themselves with what they might see before they go out and explore.
precisely. And one thing I do need to mention about Kärnite is that although most of the asteroid that hit the ground evaporated, so there's almost no trace of it, but a tiny fraction, much less than 1% got mixed into the impact melt. So based on very precise geochemical analysis of the impact melt rock, we can actually tell what type of an asteroid or meteorite it was that hit Lappajärvi. So that, I think, is
pretty unusual, or it's just that you're able to make that calculation?
I think it's just extremely cool that we can do it. The actual meteorite was a typical stony meteorite, so nothing unusual about that. But it's not that common that you can actually tell what kind of a body it was that struck. So in that sense, Lappajärvi is reasonably rare case.
Okay, so we're in Kivitippu and we're heading out away from there. Now, I do know, because I had a look recently, that there's a very nice looking golf course quite nearby to there. I'm not quite sure whether your suggested places to visit include a round of golf or not.
Why not, if you're into it? I'm more of a football guy myself, okay, as I know you are as well.
True, it's true.
But yeah, why not? And actually, you should take a walk around the area because it's a very beautiful place, and they have also a nice so-called meteorite trail there, only about a kilometer long or something like that. But you can learn more about this stuff along the trail.
Yeah, and it is from the pictures I've seen, it looks like a really interesting golf course, because I think 9 holes are basically in the woods and 9 holes are on an island with lots of water hazards. So it looks terrifying to a bad golfer like me, but it looks beautiful as well.
Yeah, it is, and there's a cool ferry taking you across the bay. So,
to get to it?
To get from the first 9 to the last 9 holes.
Yeah, okay, interesting. Yeah, it's something very different to what many people would be used to when they're playing golf.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay, but what would your next step be as a non-golfer? Where would you head to from Kivitippu?
Let's see. I think I would, okay, depending on how much time you have, but I'll actually head almost to the opposite side of the crater, to a place called Pyhävuori, which is on the southeastern side of the lake, actually part of Palajärvi. And that's really an incredible place, because Lappajärvi is so young, it hasn't been totally eroded. So you have not only the impact melt rocks left, but you also have the topographic expression of the rim. So
what does that mean? What does that mean, Teemu?
You think about craters as just holes in the ground, which they obviously are. But during the impact, the rim area gets uplifted by a lot. But in most cases, erosion over millions and millions of years removes the uplifted rim. So you can't actually see the big hill that the rim actually is. But in Lappajärvi, because it's so young, you can still see the preserved rim, and that's rare. In Finland, there's only 2 craters where you have preserved the rim. In all other
this is the actual rim of the crater that was created when with the impact of the meteorite.
Precisely.
Okay.
And that's actually not well known at all. Certainly not among the general public, and not even among geologists.
So what are we looking for if we go to this area? What should we be looking out for? Literally, what will we be seeing?
Well, when you are in Kivitippu, you should look at the topographically exaggerated model of the lake and the surroundings, and there you can actually see nicely the elevated rim. And then when you get to Pyhävuori, what you see is something truly exceptional for Etelä-Pohjanmaa, because the views are magnificent. I mean, it's a high, steep hill and beautiful lake view, and it's been called as the Koli of Pohjanmaa. Have you ever been to Koli, or what it is?
I haven't been to Koli. It's a town in the east of Finland, isn't it?
Yeah, a place there, and all of the classical area painters went there and painted it, and yeah, lovely place. And
Etelä-Pohjanmaa is generally very flat.
Completely flat and boring,
well,
if I may say so.
well, except so this is people from Etelä-Pohjanmaa think this, and I guess as a geologist that's probably very true. But my girlfriend Satu is from the east, and you know they have more natural lakes there and a bit more variety to the landscape. And what she says is that having moved to Etelä-Pohjanmaa, she really loves the big skies that you get from having a flat land, which I'd never thought about before. But she took me into the middle of a field one summer and just said, "Look," and you know, these big sky that seems to stretch on for forever. So you know, there's beauty to be found in everything, even if the flat land, as to a geologist, might seem somehow boring.
Yeah, I fully concur with that, actually. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
And in Pyhävuori, you really can't believe that you are in Etelä-Pohjanmaa, because it's such a gorgeous place. And there are a couple of specifically interesting geologic things in Pyhävuori, which are not actually related to the impact. So the Pyhävuori area itself exists because of the impact. So it is there because of that. So that's a cool thing. But when you go there, there's a famous place called Uhrikivi, the Sacrificial Stone. And that's a weird looking place because it looks like a mushroom. And folk tales say that Pirkka people sacrificed the children of the Lappi folks at the Uhrikivi. So pretty cool stuff, particularly for Halloween period and so forth and so on. And that's actually, I need to say this thing. The Uhrikivi is a thing called sea stack. So you've probably seen them in England and other places like that. So it's a rock that's been eroded by waves and other erosive forces that are taking place in shorelines. But obviously, at the moment, Pyhävuori is about 100 meters above the surface of the Lake Lappajärvi.
Okay.
But it was the Ice Age seashore that was there.
So is this before? This is after the impact.
Way after the impact. We are talking about something like 9,000 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. So if it was in the Ice Age, are we talking about glacier erosion, or would there have still been some sort of liquid water up there?
This is the stage where the glaciers started to melt.
Okay.
And we had a huge lake at that point. And so the shoreline was there, and the wave action, wind, ice, all that eroded the Pyhävuori area in a pretty fascinating way. And this Uhrikivi is made from two actually very typical rock types in the area. The leg of the mushroom, do you call it a leg? The mushroom have a leg.
A stalk. They have a stalk. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Stalk of the...
You've already taught me about 3 or 4 new words, so it's only fair that I give at least one back to you.
Indeed. The stalk of the mushroom is made of mica schist, very typical metamorphic rock. And the cap of the mushroom is made from granite pegmatite. And mica schist is much softer, much more erodible than granite pegmatite. And that's why the wave action and wind and stuff eroded stalks so that the It looks like a mushroom.
Are they two? Is it two separate pieces of rock, or are they somehow kind of connected together?
They are essentially connected together. The microschist is older, and then later, and we're still talking about 1.9 billion years ago, these granite pegmatites intruded the microschist bedrock as a molten rock, and then they were on top of that.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so that's really a great example of a sea stack.
And all of these words that I'm learning from you, I'll make a note of these also in the show notes. I like to translate some of the Finnish words that come up. So whether it's the name of the area or the name of the rock or whatever it might be, we'll put those in the show notes as well. Yeah,
and some of these words are tricky even in Finnish, because the sea stack is known as raukki. And if you ask the ordinary guy what is a raukki, they have no idea.
No, sure.
Yeah. So that's one must-see in Pyhävuori. Other things are the caves in Pyhävuori. Because Finland, because of the type of bedrock we have, we really don't have that much nice caves. And these aren't big caves in European standards, but these are pretty impressive in Finland. The longest one, Pirunpesä, Devil's Nest, it has been reported originally to have been 16 meters long, which is decent enough.
Yeah.
And these are formed again because of the differences between the microschist and the granite pegmatite, because there's the competence difference, and the microschist is also horizontally fractured. So the wave action and other erosion cause these fractures to expand, particularly at the contact between the microschist.
And are these caves easily accessible? Can people go and visit them when they're in Pyhävuori?
Yeah, some of them are.
Okay.
They're very easy. There's a nice pathway and even staircases and stuff like that, so it's easily accessible.
Great.
And there's fascinating cultural history also in Pyhävuori. Of course, there used to be plenty of trolls in the caves.
Of course they did, yeah. Of course.
Yeah, naturally. But there was also a hermit named Jaakko Reipakka, who lived during the summertime there in the 1920s. And he actually used this Pirunpesä cave as his sauna. So apparently he wasn't too bothered about the devil or the trolls.
No, I guess not. And not a superstitious man.
No.
Okay.
There's also the remains of his stone hut right next to the cave. So there's also all sorts of interesting things there.
Yeah. Okay.
And even possible Stone Age paintings on the rock. These are actually debated whether they are genuine or not. But if they are the real deal, then that actually expands the known area of Finnish Stone Age paintings.
Okay, so second place on the list is definitely Pyhävuori.
Yeah, most definitely. And I have to say that there are also nice hiking trails in Pyhävuori, and one of the hiking trails actually follows the crater rim. It's something like 6.5-7 kilometers, and goes to Lakeaharju, which is another nice place to visit because you can also get nice views to the crater lake there. And the name is actually misleading, Lakeaharju, because Harju is an S-curve, and Lakeaharju is definitely not an S-curve, but it's part of the crater rim.
Yeah.
And I would definitely go to Lakeaharju, which is north of Pyhävuori, on the side of Vimpeli.
Is this because you said that the lake is 22 kilometers in diameter? Do I remember?
Yeah, the crater is 22 kilometers in diameter. The lake itself is I think something like 13 kilometers wide and 20-something long. So,
what I was going to ask is, are all these places we're talking about accessible by car, or is it going to be easy for everyone to get to all of these places, or are some of them a little bit less accessible?
all of the places I've mentioned are easily accessible.
Okay, good.
Just a walk of a couple of 100 meters from the parking lot. So.
Unless you decide to go hiking and take it a little bit further.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Hiking is actually a good option because there are a couple of nice lean-tos on the trail from Pyhävuori to Lappajärvi.
Where are we moving on to next?
I mean, okay, while you are in Vimpeli, you obviously have to pay your respects to Saarikenttä, because that's the mecca of pesäpallo.
It certainly is at the moment. Vimpeli are the Finnish pesäpallo, Finnish baseball champions.
Indeed.
So congratulations to any Vimpeli fans that might be listening to this. I must say, when I heard about this place, Saarikenttä, the kind of the island field, I imagined this baseball stadium that faced out onto the lake, and I had ideas of people hitting their baseballs clear out into the lake. And when I actually checked it out and saw actually there's a river one side and a stream the other side, it wasn't quite as romantic as I'd imagined. But if you're going there in the summertime and you can coordinate your trip to go and take in a game of Finnish baseball, that is definitely worth doing. But I would recommend taking a Finn that can explain the rules to you, because they're very different to American baseball.
That they are, yeah. But while you are in Vimpeli, one thing we have in the Geotrail is something quite unusual. Well, everything about Lappajärvi area is unusual, but on the eastern parts of Vimpeli, there's a limestone area. And Finland, and particularly Western Finland or Central Finland, don't have much limestone. It's extremely rare. There are only some small occurrences. And Vimpeli has an extensive limestone occurrence, and it's been used for centuries. And there's actually an interesting story related to how it was recognized, because some local dude had built a fireplace in his house, and the fireplace made a lot of weird sounds and also sort of made tiny explosions.
Okay.
So obviously the devil, or at least some bad spirits or something, lived in the fireplace.
Of course.
Yeah. So they got the local priest, Jarkko Fellman, to come and take a look and get rid of the bad spirits and stuff. And he was a strange guy for a priest. He was sort of well, not that strange, but he was a very civilized guy. He immediately recognized the rocks as limestone. And he found the bedrock occurrences of limestone and started to do a small business with the limestone used in agriculture and all that stuff.
Yeah, but not so good for fireplaces.
No, definitely not.
Okay.
But thanks to this limestone area, there are gorgeous, really gorgeous old lime kilns in eastern Vimpeli. And they're right next to the road, actually, and quite close to the present-day quarry. But there are no signs to those gorgeous lime kilns. But they are easily accessible if you just take a look at the map and see where they are. And actually, from the top of my head, I can't now remember how old these particular ones are, but 100 years or so. And really fascinating combination of strange geology, strange in Finnish terms, and local history and local business and ongoing business as well.
Will we be able to identify them or locate them easy enough using your geotrail once all the information is available.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Most definitely. They are really easy to get to and easy to find on the maps. And yeah.
Most things are easy to find once someone's told you how to find them, I guess.
Actually, yeah. You are right, because I didn't visit these places until a few weeks ago, and I knew where they were, and I found them, and my colleagues were in the car. The road is something like 25 meters from the Kilns, and I was shouting and waving at them on the road, passing by. They didn't see anything because they are behind trees and bushes and all that, because nobody's taking care of these places, which is a kind of shame. But they are there, and once you go off the road into the woods, you actually see them very nicely.
Yeah,
huge constructions, and you nicely see the old molten rock inside the kilns. And yeah, also there are nature preservation areas there because of the limestone, because there are various plants that prefer limestone-bearing soil, so it's unique nature also.
Okay. It feels like we're working our way around the lake. Is that right? Is there maybe one more place you want to recommend to people when they visit?
Yeah, in Alajärvi, actually, while you are in Alajärvi, before or after you go to Pyhävuori, before, there's a cool place, a small museum called the Tulivuorikeskus, the Volcano Center.
Okay.
That's they have very nice volcano tour where you can experience an earthquake, and you see a geyser erupting, and really cool things. And they have a nice mineral exhibition, and you also see the kernite there, and that's the only place where you can actually buy polished samples of kernite.
Okay.
So it's definitely worth visiting.
So it's a kind of volcano experience rather than a memorial to a particular volcano or a local attraction.
Yeah, it's an experience kind of thing, and a museum. Yeah, a lovely little place.
And while we've been talking, I've been mentally working my way around this lake and thinking, where do I stop for coffee? Because we're in Finland, so you have to stop for coffee at least once in the afternoon. I'm guessing that the Volcano Center might be a place to do that as well.
That's an excellent place for that, yeah.
Yeah.
Restaurant and a cafe there, so no problem. I think those are the key attractions in your first visit.
Okay, well that sounds probably like a good place to wrap up today's show. I'll definitely be in touch with you after, Teemu, to get the correct spelling and translation of some of these names and places that you've mentioned, and any links that you might want to share with the listener after the show. I think I should start to wrap up by saying thank you for giving us some time and taking us on this journey around Lake Lappajärvi. So thanks, Teemu, for joining me.
It's my pleasure.
And to the listener, if you enjoy the show and want to show your support, then just take a minute to rate and review us on iTunes or your podcast player of choice. That will all help raise the profile of the show. Connect with me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or via the website at explorefinlandpodcast.com. Of course, help spread the word about the existence of the show to all your friends on your social network of choice, and invite them to explore Finland with us. If you want more from me in between shows, then again on the website you'll find back episodes, these road trip photo blogs that I've talked about. So far it's been around Pohjanmaa, but I think the first one in Etelä-Pohjanmaa will probably be Lappajärvi whenever I can get out there and do that. And you'll also on the website find my other show, the Finnish Football Show. And if that's not enough, then I also have a monthly blog on visitseinäjoki.fi, where I'm talking about just things to do more locally here in the Seinäjoki area. Finally, if there's a subject you'd like me to cover in a future episode, then contact me via the website or social media, and I'll be happy to hear from you. So until next time, thanks for listening to the Explore Finland radio show. Goodbye.